Brilliance Audio.
Nothing But Ink, a Montgomery Ink Fort Collins novella by Carrie Ann Ryan, performed by Teddy Hamilton and Jacob Morgan.
1001 Dark Nights. Once upon a time, in the future. I was a student, fascinated with stories and learning. I studied philosophy, poetry, history, the occult, and the art and science of love and magic. I had a vast library at my father's home and collected thousands of volumes of fantastic tales. I learned all about ancient races and bygone times, about myths and legends, and dreams of all people through the millennium. And the more I read, the stronger my imagination grew, until I discovered that I was able to travel into the stories, to actually become part of them. I wish I could say that I listened to my teacher and respected my gift, as I ought to have. If I had, I would not be telling you this tale now. But I was foolhardy and confused, showing off with bravery. One afternoon, curious about the myth of the Arabian Nights, I travelled back to ancient Persia to see for myself if it was true that every day Shahryar, Persian for king, married a new virgin and then sent yesterday's wife to be beheaded. It was written, and I had read, that by the time he met Scheherazade, the vizier's daughter, he'd killed 1,000 women. Something went wrong with my efforts. I arrived in the midst of the story and somehow exchanged places with Scheherazade, a phenomena that had never occurred before and that still to this day I cannot explain. Now I am trapped in that ancient past. I have taken on Scheherazade's life, and the only way I can protect myself and stay alive is to do what she did to protect herself and stay alive. Every night, the king calls for me and listens as I spin tales. And when the evening ends and dawn breaks, I stop at a point that leaves him breathless and yearning for more. And so the king spares my life for one more day, so that he might hear the rest of my dark tale. As soon as I finish a story, I begin a new one, like the one that you, dear reader, have before you now.
Chapter 1. Riggs. I loved my bar, but sometimes I hated it. My bartender for the night had called in, a head cold that wouldn't go away. As I wasn't in the mood to help spread any germs or illnesses through anyone who entered the place, I was fine with them needing the night off. I just knew that meant I would have to work the late shift tonight. That was unless Rosie, my backup, actually made it in. She was trying to find childcare for the night to get in a few more hours. She'd recently been made a widow, having lost her husband in a car accident 2 months ago. I had done my best to ensure that she got as many hours as she could, and I'd even found her other childcare through some contacts I had, only it didn't always work out, especially at the last minute. There was only so much that any of us could do for one another, and I would never begrudge my staff for having to take off for being sick or for their kids. It all made complete sense to me. Yet all I wanted was a night off, like I'd planned, and I didn't think I would get it. That was fine. I loved Riggs. I was the asshole who had jokingly named the place after myself because my grandma had liked it when we'd mentioned it in passing years before I even had the place. It had been a placeholder while we thought of other names. Then I had run out of time to change it, so now people drank at Riggs, ate the damn good wings, and enjoyed themselves at one of the most popular bars in Fort Collins, Colorado. However, I just wanted a freaking night off. We have 2 Keystones on tap, a honey lager, and an extra dry martini. I raised a brow. That's a mix. I replied with a laugh as Kai, one of my servers, shook his head, putting the order in the system. When I was behind the bar and able, Kai liked to call out the drinks ahead of time, but we still keyed everything in since there was no way I could keep up. At least, not tonight. They're an interesting crew. I think it's a double date or a first date. I'm not sure, but the 2 guys over there...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?